Hello, this is OverLordBou. We're back with SAT score, and today we're going to be doing a video on top 5 improvement goals for new WoWs players. So if you're looking to improve your class gameplay like BBs, cruisers, DDs, you name it, we'll be going over some little tips here and there to help you set your own goals to help you improve. I'm going to let SAT score start on this one.
So, when I was playing World of Warships, I used to be just another average trader. I ended up setting some goals for myself in order to try to improve, and over time, I met these goals, and I set higher goals for me to achieve, and I eventually wound up becoming the player I am right now. So, as a new player, when you don't know a lot of how WoWs works, then it can be daunting to understand, like, how can you improve as a player. So that's why I will recommend 5 goals that you can try and focus on in order to improve your own gameplay. So one of the first goals, the first goal I would recommend is knowing your ship capabilities and roles. So most new players will understand that there's 4 ship classes: destroyers, battleships, cruisers, and carriers, and they each perform somewhat differently in the match. Like, destroyers are generally for scouting, torpedoing, and killing other destroyers. Cruisers are kind of the jack of all trades. Battleships are durable and can do some impressive damage on other ships, and then carriers are controversial, to say the least. But the more you understand how your ship works and what it can do in certain situations, the more you can try to apply this ship in those situations and then influence the match that way. So knowing the limits of your ships can help contribute to a victory, or to help contribute to your increasing win rate. So the second one I would recommend is improving your threat assessment. So this is a very common skill that all high-level players will know. They can easily look at a situation, at the mini-map, and say, okay, this is what's threatening me. I need to do something against it. And this builds off of your first goal, knowing the ship's capabilities and roles. Because let's say I'm a destroyer and I'm fighting a Shimika. I'm fighting another Japanese destroyer. So I know the Japanese destroyer tends to focus on torpedoes, so they're not as good as using guns on me. But let's say if it's a U.S. or a Royal Navy destroyer, then I'm a little bit more concerned if I get into a destroyer fight. So those are the kind of threat assessments you have to make on the fly, and that will determine what gameplay decisions you make. We'll be covering more of this in a future video, so I'm not going to go too much further into this. The third goal I would set is outtrading the enemy, and this is partially also building up off the first goal of knowing your ship capabilities, but also mechanical skill. So when you're trading with other ships, they're shooting at you, you're shooting at them, you're trying to dodge their shots, they're trying to dodge your shots. So winning trades is important because in the long run, if you're able to trade better with the enemy, then you're gonna win that engagement. And if you win that engagement, you can start to influence the other side of the map, or other battles that are not finished. That can easily lead to steamrolls. That can easily lead to you winning more battles and then eventually winning the game. So you can think of World of Warships as like a series of smaller battles, and then if you can win your own battle, you can help out and win other people's battles as well. And in a sense, it's the snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
This I would say is a cornerstone of a lot of competitive gameplay. So oftentimes you'll see two teams on the same side. They'll duke it out with each other. They may have slightly different ships in the area, but if they're evenly matched, then it comes down to which team has better mechanical skill and which one has better focus fire. And if your mechanical skills are not up to par, then you're not going to be able to outdamage the enemy. in which case your team is on a disadvantage, because if you can't outdamage the enemy, then he will just kill you first. And as I said before, that's going to lead to a snowball effect. And that's something you really don't want. So the fourth goal I would recommend is outtrading the enemy. This one is
top 3 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, top 3 on the scoreboard. So this one is a bit more general. There's a lot of ways you can influence your standing on the scoreboard. For example, taking objectives, killing ships, doing lots of damage. Those are the big factors, and then you can get into more minute factors such as spotting damage and tanking damage.
Caps are also important too. Like if you're playing domination, the singular caps will also give you a lot of points, while if you're playing standard battle, those do not. Though when you capture the main one, like this battle's a standard battle, you're not going to get any points from capturing these. But if you're doing a domination, you capture those little caps, you're going to get a lot more points for those when you capture those. Also, defending caps also gives you points as well. So there's an enemy inside of your cap, and you shooting them and making sure they don't cap, that also gives you points as well, which is really, really nice.
That is correct. The scoreboard is not always accurate, but I see it as a good general indicator of how you're doing during a match. So let's say you're consistently ending up on the bottom of the team. That probably means that you're dying too early, or you're playing way too safe and you're not having any real impact. Like destroyers that die within the first few minutes, they generally end up at the bottom because they don't kill much, they don't take a cap, they basically don't do anything. On the other hand, even battleships that live the entire 20-minute duration of matches, they end up generally bottom middle of the pack. And that's because even though they're alive, they're shooting at people, they don't actually hit their shots, they either don't hit their shots, or they aren't actually contributing anything meaningful. Like if you just shoot at a battleship at 20 kilometers all day, it's hard. You're not going to land as many shots, and the shots you do land is on another battleship. So your amount of EXP that you're going to gain is not as high.
Yep, exactly.
So you may end up all over the scoreboard at first, but as you understand the game more and how the mechanics work, you definitely want to set goals to get higher on the scoreboard. Like for me, I'm consistently placing top 3 on the team every single game. And that's because I know how my ship works. I know what opponents I can deal with and which ones I can't, and I am able to successfully apply my ship into almost every situation. So it doesn't matter if the team is good or bad, I can usually come out on top every single time. If I don't win the match, of course.
Yep.
The last goal I would recommend is another achievement goal. So this one deals with server averages. It's not immediately apparent if you just stick to the WoWs client, but there are certain websites that you can access that will have a general data of how ships perform on average. Bo, can you enlighten us to some of those sites?
So the main site that he's referring to is called WoW NA numbers, and that's for the NA server, but they have the WoWs numbers for different servers. So whatever server you're on, you would just put where the NA part is. You would search your server instead. So if you're on EU, you do WoW EU numbers, or if you're on the Asia servers, you do WoW Asia numbers. If you're in a Chinese server, you do WoW CS numbers. You all do this in the Google search, and you would be able to find your stats on those particular servers. And you'll also be able to find the averages for those particular servers. So it's a way to help you see how you're faring against, or like with the other players in the server, to help you see how you're doing. like with that particular ship. And so if you're doing particularly bad on a certain ship, you'll be able to see that there. It's like, well, what can I do to fix that? And then over time, you can learn from your mistakes during battles, work on improving your threat assessment, and learning the ship capabilities and roles. So say, like he did example earlier, the Japanese DDs are mostly known for their torpedoes. So if you're trying to play a Shima, like a gunboat, you need to reassess the ship's capabilities and play it more like it's supposed to as a torpedo boat.
On the other hand, if you play a gunboat and you're very good at it, then you can expect to get consistently high damages every game, and this will reflect on your overall stats. With WoW's numbers specifically, and I guess sites in general, you have to be careful of how you interpreted the damage numbers, because it's not always a good indicator of skill. We'll take the US Destroyer line for example. Their server average damages are well known for being low, and that's because the US Destroyers are often seen as a very good noob-friendly line. So a lot of new players will go up it and start kind of like bring the stats down because they're learning the game. When you go as a more experienced player going back through the line, I find myself easily achieving 3-4k PR games just because the averages are relatively low. So sometimes you will have to take the stats with a grain of salt, but at the very least, if you see your average numbers going up, that's always a good sign because that means you're improving as a player. It doesn't have to always be, you don't always have to be going up. Sometimes your base XP, you notice your base XP going up, but generally you want, if you're meeting some of these goals, then that means you're improving as a player. So is there any other goals you would recommend for a new player, Bo?
I think we pretty much covered everything. I would definitely try to make a goal of being able to find friends to play with and learn from. So you have like a group of people to play with and learn, and you all learn together how to play. I feel like that'd be a really important goal to have, not just be by yourself. Just try to make friends in the community, or have friends that you play with in IRL. Just have a fun. And remember that the most important thing that you're doing is, as you're improving, is that you're having fun, and that you're not just forcing yourself to get better because people putting pressure on you. Always make sure that you're trying to have fun while you're doing this, and if you're not having fun, just go back to what you were doing before. Because games should never be a chore. It should always be a fun time. So, but thank you so much, ACT, for your time today. That's all the time we have today. I will see you guys later. Deuces. Hey guys, this is OverLordBou. Just want to thank y'all for watching today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I love reading your guys' comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Blah!